Hello, you guys, and welcome back to another video slash episode on this podcast slash YouTube channel. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you are new here or you are returning. Today, y'all, is going to be a very hard episode to film. Um, I'm doing some reflections. I've been doing some reflecting these past couple days. Um, and I want to make a video kind of reflecting and collecting my thoughts on this, but also here to validate anyone who is affected by this. I don't really know. It's y'all. It's y'all. As you know, in a lot of my podcast episodes, I just be talking straight from the heart, and today is no different. So let me just get right on into it. As many of you guys know, a year ago, I went back to therapy for the second time in my life. I went to therapy once at 19 to recover from heartbreak, depression, family issues. And I went back again a year ago at 21 to try to fix my anxiety. Now, at first, I thought my anxiety was surrounding one thing, which it mainly was, right? Okay. It mainly was surrounding recovering from my last relationship, which was abusive sexually and emotionally. I had so much anxiety. I didn't know how to deal with it. Talking to people, like panic attacks, no sleep. I'm like, okay, let me try some professional help. Talking to a therapist is great. It's amazing. I highly recommend, because you talk to therapists and they be telling you a whole lot of you ain't even know. One day I kind of wanted to just bring up something that had been on my mind, something that I either didn't talk to a lot of people about, or when I did, I was just like, I don't like that response. Okay, and I still feel this way about it to this day. As I just mentioned, as a victim, as a survivor of SA, I feel so like protective, or like kind of, like, yeah, I feel so protective towards other victims, because I don't like oppression Olympics. I don't like to compare trauma, but as I said, um I went through SA as an adult, 19, 20 years old, from a person I was in a relationship with. Doesn't Me being an adult, me being in a relationship with this person doesn't make it any better. Like I said, I'm not never trying to compare situations, but when I consume other people's stories about going through it as children, as minors, being introduced to things like that for the first time in this way, not even knowing what it was, by people they trusted, by family members. I feel so like the rage and protection I feel as also a victim, but someone who was a victim as an adult. I just I feel like I'm ready to fight everyone. And I preface this to say that y'all know those memes about when you grow up and you realize your whole family is terrible. Ooh, that is what I was unpacking last year. I was hearing stories from people in my family about this family member, about that family member, about abuse that has gone on in my family behind the scenes, about people that I thought were one way, and I'm just finding out all this as an adult, and I'm just supposed to, what am I supposed to do with this, you know? And different people react to stuff like this differently. Obviously, some people dissociate, some people are more emotional than others. One, at the time, I was living with some of the family. Okay, I just want to preface this by any of my family who watches this. I don't really know how many watch me, but none of this had to do with my immediate family. My mom, my dad, my siblings, fuck out of here. Okay, this had to do with extended family, hearing stuff from extended family about family. And at the time, I was living with extended family, not living with my immediate family. So I was living around some of these people that I'm all of a sudden just hearing about. And it's like, what do I do? Because, My first my first and only interest is obviously protection of victims, protection of victims. If the victims don't want me to say anything, don't want it to be talked about, don't want, like, I'm not going to do anything. I mean, at that time, like, all this, so that's how I felt. Like, this is rocking my okay, because I'm an empath. This is my family, this is people I'm around. And also, even if it wasn't, any abusers, any pedophiles, any of that. Like, it's just always how I felt. And I talked to my therapist about this. Like, I didn't even know how to bring it up. She's just like, Alicia, I tell her. And when I get done with that conversation about hearing these things about my family, she just tells me, like, girl, no wonder why you're going through it. You're not only dealing with how to recover from your own abuse, she's like, you're living in an anxious state of mind, in an anxious physical place, and you really have no outlet. Like, no wonder you feel like this. And it's just like weird because, especially as like a black woman, like, it's just in our community, it's just so hard to like talk about mental health. I'm very proud of my immediate family and how far we've come when it comes to this, but it just seems like if nothing is going on physically or directly to you, why are you sad? Why are you upset? Like, it's none of your business. But like, my therapist validated me so much, made me realize how much things affect me and how valid things are to affect me. And oh, I recommend therapy down to a T, guys, everybody. I was going through it, y'all, because I'm not only trying to navigate my own trauma, I'm navigating it in a space that I don't feel physically safe. I feel so triggered by what I've heard. And it's just like, oh, y'all, this time last year, I felt insane. And the reason I said I felt like I had no outlet is because, like, when talking to my therapist, she really seemed like my only outlet because she's unbiased. Okay, she ain't in the family. She don't know these people. And yeah, I tried slowly but surely to talk to different people about it, other than like the person who told me and confided in me. And every single time I got pissed off, y'all. Like I said, it's just like families are so biased and people are so different. It came with like, okay, I understand why you're upset, but what are we supposed to do? Or if this person doesn't want to talk about it, how are we supposed to move? We can't really do anything unless this person wants to bring it to the front and this, and this. And I felt it, mind you. So I'm talking to people that are close to me, which again, I had permission from the victim to do, because they were like, I know it's a lot, I don't mind if you talk to so and so about it, blah blah blah. I just personally confided in you, and it's hard to tell everybody. um so I felt so much anxiety, I felt so much hurt, I felt so much disappointment in how, because besides the people I confided in, the victim told me there's other people who knew about it, but again, I'm like, oh, so they know about it and they're just moving like regular. They're just moving like regular. They're just being around this person, still inviting this person. Like, no, so nobody gives it. And it's like, it's so hard to unpack that because it's like, just because people act differently from you doesn't mean they don't care. But it just felt like nobody cares enough because I'm ready to sock these people in the face if the victim so called says it's okay. But then I'm gonna be the bad. When it comes to these stories, y'all, it is, for me, it's so hard to, like, my least favorite comment when I've tried to confide in people and talk to people about how these things affect me, whether it's like stuff that's happened in to the closeness of me or the media, people always want to say like, okay, well, you're so passionate and you're so emotional, because you're also a victim, even though I'm a victim in different ways. And I really hate hearing that comment because obviously having similar trauma can make me, you know, more emotional, whatever. But I always just think, to me, it's like, I feel like if I wasn't a victim, I would still be just as mad and ready to sock up every pedophile I see. Because what the are we really talking about? Like, I'm a black woman in America. I just naturally have empathy for other people and other marginalized groups. It's like I don't have to relate or know what something feels like to be ready to step. Okay? Like, I don't know. That's just always how I've been. Um, and one comment that my therapist told me before that really struck me is when I told her how I feel about the situation, how I want to deal with it. She's like, "Well, how do you feel? And how do you feel that the other people are acting differently?" And I'm just like, me personally, I don't give if someone is related to me, if I knew them for how long, I'm like, for me, my morals are morals. Like, if you do something like this, you're cut. Like, I'm ready to fight you. Like, what are we really talking about? And she's like, to them, obviously, it's very hard when there's bias and all these different things. But I'm like, to them, it's like, well, because they are related or whatever, it's different. Well, to me, it's not different. If someone is a weirdo, you're a weirdo. Um, and she just said that my viewpoint was very like brave and inspiring because she's like, I don't meet a lot of people who mark their morals no matter who it is. She's like, there's a lot of bias in this world, but she's like, you sound just really strong and to stand 10 toes on what you believe in no matter who it is, and that's really something you should be proud about. And I said, thanks, cuz everyone I talk about makes me feel like there's something wrong with that and I'm ready to slap them. Reflecting on the year, and like I said, I don't want to say I feel calmer about it. Like I'm reflecting on myself last March versus this March, because I really don't. Well, one, I'm not in the physical spaces of those people anymore. I don't have to see them. I don't, so that's very helpful. And two, I don't know, it's just having a therapist and having validation and understanding that I'm not wrong no matter who wants to make me feel wrong. And then also, like I said, also learning about my own sexual trauma and how it impacted me. It just really makes me it just made things a lot better. However, I reflect on myself a year ago and I still see how much things affect me and I think will always affect me because of how huge my morals are. Guys, in January, February, I was learning about Naziah Harris. That story was tearing me up. Naziah Harris, justice for that girl, justice for that girl, justice for that girl. That story tore me up. I'm talking about, I wanted to stop consuming it, but I feel like I couldn't. The more I consumed it, the more I literally physically felt ill, felt like a pain, like a physical pain. Like, I don't know, y'all. I'm just being a good bitch. It's just so hard because it's just like, in what world can you consume something like that and be okay and move on with your day? Like, if you don't know who I'm talking about, I don't even want to talk about her. I just want you guys to look her up on TikTok on some platform and you are going to understand exactly what I mean. In the past few months, someone who is extremely close to me, who is not family, has opened up about the abuse they've experienced as a child. And that tears me up too, y'all. I literally, earlier today, I just find myself bawling, just bawling whenever, like I said, I just feel such a like protection over child victims as someone who was an adult victim. Because it's like, I knew I knew what not what assault was, but you know, I was already introduced to sex. I was already I already had the adult knowledge of doing things with consent. And it just literally breaks my heart and eats me up knowing, but especially knowing people I know were introduced in that way so young. That bitches are so fucking evil, um, and disgusting and need to be stomped out. I'm sorry, I'm not even trying. I'm not even trying with monetization today. I just want to make this video to speak on this. Because like I said, especially in Black communities, I feel like this is such an issue that no one likes to talk about, because who would want to talk about it? And especially for victims. How you treat victims, okay, now I'm just like going out of like no matter what age you are. How people treat victims is terrible, is crazy. How dare you ask them questions or think that something is their fault? Like literally. And especially someone, obviously I was confused with what I went through as an adult, but I can't imagine the I made a similar video to this in summer called Feeling Everything is Exhausting. Um and yeah, when I reflect on March a year ago versus March now, I want to say that maybe because I'm at a more healed place with my own trauma, I don't take on as much of people's trauma. But then, like I say, I consume cases like this. I think about the inner child of someone I love so deeply, so freaking often, and bawl my eyes out over it. I want to say last year, I let it consume me to the point where I was low key like unfunctionable. Like I felt like I was losing my mind every day. And it's like more like today, I lose my mind every other day. No, I'm playing. It's not every other day. But when it comes to like healing, but also just consumption in a world that is just so evil and dark, I always think about this one not meme post that I've seen before, where they say when it comes to grief, when it comes to pain, when it comes to things we've been through, how it's like it was a little circle. And it was like, it's not that that circle or the pain or the grief or the hurt ever goes away, but it showed basically like that. Let's say this is a circle and there's a bigger circle around it that grows. You feel me? So it's like, it's always lives within us, but we gradually figure out how to live with it, if that makes sense. And that post resonated with me so much and is why I think, and with therapy, that I'm able to be more functioning when it comes to what I consume in this world and also what I've been through to this day. And I hope anyone watching this can hopefully look at me, look at other people who have been through terrible things and have beautiful lives or are eventually happy with their lives, and realize the same thing, that like you can be in the trenches, you can be in the trenches. I'm kind of in it right now. um and you can still navigate life with pain. As terrible as that sounds, I kind of just feel like it's life. But as painful as it sounds, I also think it's encouraging, because like I said, when I consume these stories and I see people that I know personally or people that I don't, I just I I'm inspired, and I'm sure I could be inspired by some of you guys if you shared your stories, which I've mentioned before. Some people have DM'd me personally, talked to me, and I always feel so honored. I feel so honored whenever people are vulnerable with me, because damn, am I vulnerable to this camera with you strangers right now. And for you guys to do it back or to show me love and to say that I actually did say something helpful just means the world to me. Because again, a year ago today, I was going through it with so much. And yeah, it literally gave me everything to find videos or hear words where I'm like, wow, that's exactly how I feel. I hope to feel that way one day. And our situations might not be the same, they might not even be similar, but I know that you'll learn to live with it one day too. And I just also want to use this time to say once again to any victims of anything, any type of abuse at any type of age, don't you ever let someone or this world or society make you think anything was on you, that you're overreacting, that you can't be hurt. Like I said, I'm really fucking tired of these families acting like these things aren't a big deal or long time ago doesn't have as much impact, y'all. I eventually got to a point with my personal situation where um, the victim told me they wanted me to speak for them and to bring the conversation to the table. Y'all, do you know how many people told me that I was disrespectful and I was so wrong for bringing something up that happened so long ago? When I told y'all I had to leave the space before I slapped the shit out of everybody, yeah, how you feel is valid, whether you are a victim yourself, whether you are advocating for the victim, whether you're just a good person, like I said, who doesn't have to be affected by things to care. You go, girl, or boy, or non-binary person. Everybody. Because this is the type of shit, and especially why I say I make these videos, this is the type of stuff to me personally that I feel like gets stuff like that to stop happening. Shutting up, it just because something was so long ago or just because it's uncomfortable for you, means the cycle keeps going. Closed mouths, no one talks about it, no one knows about it, we don't acknowledge it. No, that. Speak about it, be loud, because guess what? It is a lot of people's reality. And it's not gonna stop being their reality just because you don't want to talk about it. You guys. I'm sorry. Normally I make videos where I'm much more in my healed, calm energy. But when it comes to topics like this, literally, like everybody, not you guys though. Um, but anyone who ever wants to act a weird type of way. Oh, y'all, I forgot. I think it was literally last March or April too. Where on top of that, boom, I just feel like I was getting jumped. Dealing with my own essay, bow. Dealing with the family stuff, bow. And then they want to drop that Nickelodeon documentary. Y'all, I just I don't know how many tears came out of my body that month. But seriously, 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 um, to anybody out there who has spoken up, who hasn't, who keeps their personal story to themselves, who speaks out and has had a good response, who speaks out has a bad response, whatever, whatever. You're so brave, you're so valid, you're so inspiring. Thank you for speaking and breaking the cycle. I appreciate you, and your hard work to even talk does not go unnoticed. Because, like I said, as a victim myself, although I wasn't a child, it was so hard for me to talk. It was so hard for me to talk. Um, and even when I look at myself like a year and a half ago, it's even amazing that I'm able to stand up in front of this camera and admit what happened to me. Because God knows I did not for very long. Because it just feels like I said, the world doesn't create a safe space for people like us. But I want you guys to know, people like you are always safe on my page, on any of my pages. Yeah, and thank you. I hope, as a victim myself, whether we don't have the same story, similar stories, the same type of abuse, that I said something helpful, that I validated you, because that is the only reason I'm here. Um, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this. This one was a hard one. It was a tough one. It's been heavy on my mind. Um, So I appreciate you guys for hearing me out, hearing me out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. This was very deep. Like I always say, if you want to laugh a little bit, check my story times where I could like make more jokes and put memes and stuff, because it gets heavy. But I think my channel is a perfect balance for both. Or you could also check my TikTok and Instagram, where I'm also very funny and hilarious. And I think you guys will enjoy that. Thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.